The following is a special video presentation from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. You are watching RJ Debates 2020. Here is your host, Victor Jakes.
Hello, I'm Victor Jakes. Welcome to the Las Vegas Review-Journal's Nevada Judicial Debate Series. Today's debate is between the two candidates running for Clark County District Court Department 4. Joining me tonight are Phil Aurbach and Nadia Krall. The incumbent judge isn't seeking re-election. We'll start with opening statements. Phil, go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Thank you. I am really excited to be the next district court judge for Department 4. I started my legal career in the district attorney's office, and in 1988, I formed my own law firm. Over the next 32 years, my law firm went from 5 attorneys to over 40. Some of the secretaries at the firm have worked there 20 to 30 years. And here's the thing, district court judges handle the most important and most complex cases in Nevada. I've practiced law in the district court almost twice as long as any other candidate for judge. I've done over 30 civil trials in district court, more than almost any candidate. When I got out of law school, there were 6 judges. Now there's almost 60. I've seen judges come and go. I've seen some good ones and bad ones. Usually the difference is their trial experience. The bottom line is we need judges with experience more than just in injury cases. We need judges with experience in contract, real estate, construction, employment cases. I have the experience to be your next district court judge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil. Nadia, go ahead.
Thank you for having me. I'm from Las Vegas. I grew up here. I went to El Dorado High School on the east side. I then went to UNLV and UNLV's law school. And for the past 12 years, I've had my own law practice where I've represented real people with real problems. How are you going to pay your rent or your mortgage when it comes due? Where are you going to come up with the money if your car breaks down? I have been with regular people in the community. I've had my own law practice, so I have done everything from sweep the floors to take a case to trial. And that same work ethic that I've had in my own business, I will bring to the courtroom.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Phil, we'll start with you. Will you describe your judicial philosophy, including if you view the Constitution as a living document, or if you believe a judge needs to uphold the original meaning of the text?
Thank you. I think that the judges have to follow the law. That's what they have to do. And if you go by the original meaning of the Constitution, you're looking at something in 1776. So I believe my judicial philosophy is that the Constitution is a living and breathing document that the Supreme Court changes all the time. But my job as a judge in the 8th Judicial District Court is to follow the law.
Thank you very much, Phil. Nadia, same question. Will you tell the viewers a little bit about your judicial philosophy, including how you view the Constitution?
My judicial philosophy is to follow the precedent that the higher courts have set. In district court, it's not the judge's job to create the law. The legislature creates the law, and the Nevada Supreme Court might issue rulings that clarify it. It is your job as a district court judge to put your own personal opinions and your own personal feelings aside and to follow the precedent and the law that's come before you.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Nadia, one of the most important roles a judge has is to issue sentences in criminal cases. Will you talk about your approach to sentencing, especially how you'll determine if a criminal should be given shorter or longer sentences when a judge has a range of options?
My philosophy on sentencing is what is the particular crime and how can we best keep the community safe while preventing additional crimes from happening in the future. So, for instance, if someone has been charged with a crime and you have the option of giving them 30 days in jail or giving them probation, I would look to see if they have a job, are they providing for their family, and what impact that would have to give them the resources they need, whether it's mental health or alcohol abuse, to prevent them from committing crimes in the future and keeping the community safe.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Phil, if you're elected, tell us how you would approach sentencing in a criminal case.
My philosophy is a little bit different. I think sentencing depends on the defendant, not what the entire community wants. This defendant may have aggravating circumstances or mitigating circumstances, and each sentence should be tailored to that defendant and what crime they committed.
Thank you very much, Phil. And stick with us. Our judicial primary debates will continue in just a moment.
All your listeners and followers, the best name of any podcast in the world is podcast.
Nobody's ever done it. Nobody's ever faked
Not that we
their
know
death.
of.
No.
When you work with Prince, you gotta get used to the fact that he changes musicians like underwear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Tom Brady.
Who?
And Tom Brady, he's a quarterback in the Boston area.
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
Get ready for every Raiders game with us. Vegas Nation Game Day will give you everything you need to know about each week's matchup.
I'm excited.
Sundays at 9 a.m. starting in September on Your View. Vegas Nation Game Day coming this September.
Welcome back. You're watching the judicial primary debate for Department 4. It's part of an ongoing series of debates produced by the Las Vegas Review-Journal to inform local voters about these races. Phil, on your website, you describe the types of civil litigation that you've been involved with, including, and some of these you've mentioned, construction cases, corporate disputes, and personal injury cases. Do you have enough criminal law experience to run for district court judge?
Well, the district court is divided into two different sections. Some judges are only criminal, some judges are only civil, and some judges, there's actually three sections, are business court. There's only 4 judges that have the experience to do business court, and some judges have had a split calendar. I've had a couple of criminal cases. I don't have an extensive criminal background. I've mostly done civil litigation, breach of contract, real estate, that kind of thing.
Thank you, Phil. Nadia, I want to ask you something similar. You've talked about having your own personal injury law practice for a bit over a decade, and you also don't have much experience with criminal law. If voters are going to elect someone without much experience in that part of the law, why wouldn't they go with Phil, who has over 40 years of experience in civil litigation?
Well, actually, I do have extensive criminal experience. I have not only done personal injury, I have done business law, and I've done family law, and I have done criminal as well. I have had experience not only in state court, but in federal court in criminal cases. I've been appointed on the indigent defense panel. So if there's a conflict of interest with the public defender's office, I have represented people, and I have gone to trial on a murder case. So I've done the entire spectrum of criminal cases. So I have a wealth of experience in both civil and criminal cases, and I would bring that experience to the bench.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Nadia, what characteristic or experience do you have that makes you the best candidate for district court judge?
I have judicial experience. For 4 years, I served the community as a judge in small claims court. And in about 2/3 of those cases, the parties could not afford an attorney. So I can handle cases whether someone has an attorney, a high-priced lawyer, or whether or not they're representing themselves. And that is what I can bring to the community and to the voters of Clark County.
Thank you, Nadia. Phil, same question for you. What characteristic or experience do you have that you feel makes you the best candidate for this seat?
Well, instead of small claims experience, I have had arbitration experience. As a AAA arbitrator, both lawyers choose who they want to be the private judge to decide their case. And those have been cases from $50,000 to hundreds of millions of dollars. So I have 80 cases that I've been the arbitrator on cases that are very similar to the types of cases that are involved in the district court. So I think I have the most experience to make decisions, write the decision, handle the attorneys for the clients, and run the courtroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Phil, obviously, each of you think you're the best candidate for district court. But Phil, do you believe your opponent is unqualified or unsuited to be on the bench?
Well, I hate to make negative comments about my opponent. I don't think she has enough trial experience in district court. She says she has a lot of extensive experience, but I don't think she does. I've only known of a couple of trials that she's actually done in the district court on the civil side.
Thank you, Phil. Nadia, I want to give you a chance to respond to that and ask you the same question. Do you think Phil is unqualified or unsuited to serve?
The voters will decide who is the most qualified candidate. I believe it's one person, one vote. I also serve as an arbitrator for Clark County's district court, where I basically a private judge where I review the pleadings, I listen to the testimony, and I prepare written decisions. So I also have that type of experience.
Thank you, Nadia. Nadia, would you name a judge on the bench that you think is doing a good job and a characteristic of theirs that you would like to emulate if you are elected?
Absolutely. Without a doubt, Tim Williams is one of the best judges because not only is he fully prepared when he walks into that courtroom, he listens to both parties before rendering any decision. And that is the type of judge that I would like to be if elected.
Thank you, Nadia. Phil, same question for you. Who's a judge on the bench that you respect, and what's something of theirs, habit in the courtroom or characteristic that you would like to put in place if you're elected?
I really respect all of the judges that are in business court. Judge Alf, Judge Gonzalez, Judge Denton. They have patience to listen to both sides. They have compassion for the people that are in their courtroom. They are knowledgeable about business cases and the disputes that business people usually have. And they have good listening skills. So the clients feel like they've been listened to in their courtroom. So those three judges, I think, are excellent on the bench, and I would strive to be like them.
Thank you, Phil. Phil, what in your past demonstrates that you can treat all those involved in legal proceedings, ranging from potentially murder suspects to victims, or in a corporate dispute, business people, lawyers, with respect?
Well, I've had to deal with all of those as clients. I've had to deal with them as parties in arbitrations, and I've had to deal with their attorneys. And so after 42 years of being an attorney, I've seen the broad spectrum of how people can act and how people can react. And I think I have the patience to be able to handle any situation and yet still have compassion for the people that may be acting out, because court is stressful. Court is an emotional experience. And I know that from my actual trials and the arbitrations that I've done.
Thank you, Phil. Nadia, same question for you. There's a lot of people who come through the legal system. It's usually a really hard day for them when they appear in court. What in your past shows that you can treat those people with respect?
My experience in small claims court gives me the ability to treat people with dignity and respect, because in small claims court, most people are unrepresented. They are scared. They don't know the legal system, but it was my job to be patient and understanding and let them tell their story and their side of the case before coming to any conclusions.
Thank you, Nadia. Obviously, you guys are running for Department 4, but there's a lot of judicial races on the ballot. Nadia, I want to ask you, as a lawyer and as someone who's running for judge, how do you make a decision about who to support in the other judicial races? Walk voters through your thought process.
I look at their experience. I also look at their community service and what they've done for the community. And I also look at their ethics and what they've done in the past. And those things matter to me, and how hardworking they will be for the voters of Clark County.
Thank you, Nadia. Phil, same question for you. I think when voters approach the judicial races, it's with a little bit of intimidation because they just don't necessarily know all these folks. How do you approach the other judicial races on the ballot?
Well, some of the judges I've been in front of, so I know. So I have a good understanding of how qualified I think they are. There's a lot of young judges that have been running. You only need 10 years of experience and $150 to run. And so some of them I don't know. So I ask other practitioners. We have almost 40 people in our firm, so I ask them, do you know anything about this judge or that judge? I ask friends in the community about them. So then I try to look up to see if there's anything on their record in the state bar that they've been disciplined on or something like that. But there's not a whole lot that somebody can do to actually check out their background. Each candidate has to fill out an extensive questionnaire for each group that interviews them, but you're not always seeing all of those questionnaires online.
Thank you very much, Phil. And stay tuned. The debate will continue right after these messages.
With so much excitement building around the Raiders and their inaugural season in Las Vegas, the fans want to be heard. The launch of Vegas Nation Fan Zone is their answer. That's right, Raiders fans can sound off on all things Raiders, from players to coaches to even the new Allegiant Stadium. Vegas Nation Fan Zone is accessible 24/7 and allows fans to generate and upload their own posts for lively interaction. Simply go to fanzone.vegasnation.com to sign up today.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. You are watching the judicial debate for Department 4. Phil, we'll start with you. You've both had experience with personal injury cases, as we've talked about. Recently, there was a fierce legislative debate over if businesses and governments should be responsible if their employees or customers catch the coronavirus. Obviously, we want everyone to stay safe. Should organizations that didn't get that protection, including the Clark County School District, be worried if their case came before you? At that point, you would be a former personal injury lawyer.
Well, that's a tough one, because your question kind of asks me how I would rule in the future, which I'm ethically obligated not to say. I can tell you this, that protections for employers that are responsible to keeping their employees safe shouldn't be blocked from the legal system, in my general view. So although it's noble to keep businesses from being responsible for their patrons and and not held accountable for their patrons and their employees, I think that's the basis of our legal system, is that we say you better do the right thing, you better follow the law, or you might have consequences.
Thank you, Phil. Nadia, I want to ask you the same question. You've talked about your extensive work with personal injury law. Should an organization like the Clark County School District be worried if a coronavirus case came before you who used to work at, if you were elected as a personal injury lawyer?
In addition to doing personal injury, I have done defense work as well. So in both civil, criminal, and family, I have worked on both sides of the aisle. So anyone who comes before the courtroom where I'm serving the community is going to get a full and fair hearing and an open mind.
Thank you, Nadia. Nadia, what, if anything, most needs to change in Nevada's judicial system?
I believe that it should be more streamlined. A lot of times there are not enough trials going forward in the civil arena and the criminal arena. So if we could move cases forward and so people could have their day in court, that is the most important issue for me as a judge.
So I'm just going to follow up briefly on that. How do you as a judge change that? Is that something that you can do? Is that a system problem?
It is something that I can do to make sure that I have the parties come in, we talk about scheduling issues, and we make sure that if one case settles, we have another case ready to go. And so we're not bumping them months out and then doing it again, because that is the reality of what happens when you are a trial lawyer. You're ready to go, and then the judge says they don't have time for you.
Thank you, Nadia. Phil, same question. Obviously, you've had a broad experience in Nevada's district courts. What would you like to change if you're elected?
Well, I agree 100% with Nadia that moving cases along faster is hugely important. Justice delayed is justice denied as far as most of my clients have how they feel. However, I think access to justice is an important component of our judicial system, and we're really lacking in that area. There's a lot of people that don't have money to afford attorneys. They don't have good access to the courtrooms, and they come into court and they're really held to, by law, a standard of just as if an attorney were supposed to know all of the rules, all of the regulations, all of the case law when they're presenting their case. And so access to justice is really one of the big problems, in my opinion. And unfortunately, as a neutral judge, I'm a referee. I'm not for one team or for another team. So I can't help out a participant, but I can explain things to them in an understandable way.
Thank you, Phil. And we'll be back with our final segment in just a moment.
The Vegas Nation podcast is your source for all your Las Vegas Raiders news. Subscribe and get fast takes and smart coverage. Download the Vegas Nation app, check out vegasnation.com, and stay up to date with your Las Vegas Raiders.
Alexa, play my flash briefing.
Here's what's new in today's news.
Stay in the loop of the latest information in the Las Vegas Valley with the Las Vegas Review Journal Flash Briefing. Every day, we will provide you with everything you need to know in news, business, weather, entertainment, and sports. Go to the Alexa app and search LVRJ News Briefing. Then say, Alexa, play my flash briefing to hear 3 minutes of the most important information in Las Vegas.
And with that, we're on to closing statements. Nadia, we'll start with you. You've got 1 minute.
Thank you. I'm Nadia Krall, and I'm working to earn your vote in the November election. I have almost 20 years of legal experience in civil, criminal, family, business, and many different areas as well. And I believe that the courtroom belongs to the people, and I will serve you in your capacity as judge.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Phil, go ahead.
Thank you. I was taught the meaning of hard work at an early age. I had a paper route at age 14, getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I went out for sports my freshman year in high school. I liked tennis, but I didn't make the team here in Las Vegas. So I went to a tennis pro and negotiated lessons in exchange for washing tennis courts and stringing tennis rackets. 3 years later, I took second in doubles in the state tennis tournament. So I know the meaning of hard work. Tennis scholarship got me through college, and student loans got me through law school. And after being an attorney for 42 years, I want to use my skills and give back to the community as a judge by helping move cases through the system efficiently, economically, and fairly to all. I'm really proud of the endorsement by Deputy District Attorney Barbara Scifalacqua. She was one of our opponents in the primary and has done over 50 trials in district courts. She has endorsed me because she knows that I have the experience to be your next district court judge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil. Thank you both for joining us and for a really informative debate. And thank you for watching this edition of Nevada Judicial Debates. Remember, you can find this program and more information on all the judicial races at reviewjournal.com. We'll see you next time.